Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you. Welcome to this week's Midweek Check-In. This is Pastor James coming to you from uh, the Fortress of Solitude here on Old Norcross, and it has not been like the Fortress of Solitude normally is today. A lot of stuff going on. Getting ready for a busy week, but very glad, very glad to be here and to be a part of this New Hope family. Uh, so, hey, tomorrow, 10 a.m., our Romans Bible study continues. If you haven't been being a part of it, you can jump right in. I'm going to be doing a review of where we are. We're just in the first third of chapter 3, and I believe this is going to be our fourth lesson coming up tomorrow. But I'm going to do a review of where we are because for those of you that have encountered Romans, um, uh, Paul is making it's a wonderful, life-giving, um, uh, encouraging letter, but it's also very dense. And it is, I'm so happy to finally be uh, digging deeper into Romans than I necessarily have before. The Bible never stops teaching us. It is a thick book. So Romans Bible study tomorrow morning at 10, and our Wednesday night program kicks back off tomorrow night, 5:15, brown bag dinner and fellowship time in the small fellowship hall, followed up by our Bible study for our evening Bible study for Wednesdays, which will be available both in person in the small fellowship hall and on Zoom, and then will be available to stream after that. Uh, but if you can come out tomorrow night, please do. The more the merrier. We're going to be looking at the Sermon on the Mount there during our Bible study time, and then our chancel choir will begin their rehearsals again tomorrow night, 7:10, in the chancel choir room. Now, this coming Saturday, we Carol and I are going to be away at the Craddock Center for a quarterly board meeting. But we've got some garden activities going on here at the church. There's a fall gardening 101 workshop coming up at 10:30, and then a seed swap to follow at 11:30. So a couple of events for your Saturday for you to consider. And then this coming Sunday, we have the nominating committee will meet very briefly in the church office with Carol. Um, as you'll notice this week that the nomination forms are going to be in the bulletin. They'll be there this Sunday, and then the following two, the 18th and the 25th, we'll be accepting nominations for board officers, elders, deacons, deaconesses, and junior deacons. Um, uh, as you probably already know, our board chair of the last 9 years is stepping down, Miss Carol Hanson. She's not quitting, she's not retiring, um, she's taking a much needed and much deserved and well earned break from leading the meetings and being kind of the point person for the church board. So we want to thank Carol for that, her service. And it's time to be considering and thinking about our next board chair as well. So I pray that you'll join me in making that a matter of prayer going forward. Those nomination forms can be turned in to anybody that's on the nominating committee, and the nominating committee is Barbara Coker, Gail Lopes, Claudia Haxton, Peggy Walker, and also Carol. You can give your nomination form to me as well. So you just give those forms to them, to any of the members of the nominating committee, and that nominating committee will meet again in a few weeks uh, to go over the nominations that have been presented. On the nomination forms, on the back of the nomination form, you'll see the biblical qualifications for, or the biblical guidelines for those to be considered for elder, deacon, deaconess. And I pray that you will take the time to read those and read the referenced scripture passages as well. And so that'll be happening over the next 3 weeks throughout the rest of the month of August. And if you have any questions about the process, please see Carol, or you can talk to me about it as well. And I thank you for taking part in that. All right. Well, I think those are the big things coming up this week. We've got a really, really huge week coming up next week with our Golden Travelers. Also, our disciples, men and women, are going to be getting together on Saturday morning, the 17th, Lord willing, over at the Pancake House in Lawrenceville for our annual breakfast. We started that tradition last year, and it's carried over. So I'm excited about that. And I know there's lots of other things going on. A lot of folks that are dealing with health struggles, and some folks that just, those caregivers that are in need of some rest and some encouragement. We want to be mindful of all the folks down in Florida and in Georgia and in South Carolina and anywhere Hurricane Debbie has rolled through, and we want to pray for them and pray for those that are going into the situations. The rescue workers, and we just thank God for them and pray God's protection and safety for them as well. All right. Well, I think that's about it. Love you guys. Uh, hey, if you missed episode one of The Chosen this past Sunday night, I'll give a review of what happened in the first episode of season four. Please join us. We are going to pick up with, we had a big event happen at the end of the first episode, and really, really some exciting stuff coming as Jesus makes his way toward that last week of his life. And it's for me, it's just done so very, very well. So uh, love God. Let's love one another. Let's love our community. Let's be people known and marked by love. And remember, the early church. I want to thank Hoyt Tuggle for sending me a link to a portion of a sermon that a young seminarian gave not too long ago, in which he reminded the church to which he was speaking that the early Christians, they weren't known as Christians. They were known as the way. And I think that's important for us to remember that Jesus came to show us the way. He was the way, is the way, but he showed us a different way of doing life, a kingdom way of doing life. And I pray that our lives personally and as a church are marked by that kingdom focus. So God bless you. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe. And if you need me, you know how to reach me. Love you. Take care.